This is always hard to talk about.
So, probably from the early age of 16, I was sexually abused by an adult.
So the first time I experienced sexual abuse was 6. The event did not last very long. He was a grown man who chose to do that to a 6-year-old girl.
Years later in college, I experienced a very traumatic physical and sexual assault where it left me with physical and emotional scars that took years to heal from. I didn't say anything, and I remained silent. And that just became a pattern of behavior, to remain silent, to remain silent. It affected just about every aspect of my life, with my marriage, with my family. It caused post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, anxiety. Those affected everything about my life.
I grew up feeling like I was set apart as unholy because of this event. And I just felt like that's the kind of touch that I deserve. So as I grew up into a woman, I still believe that. Because I'd repressed that memory, didn't know what happened, just always had this feeling like, oh yeah, I'm supposed to get more of that kind of bad attention.
The main part of what the post-traumatic stress from those events were the silence, the avoidance of trying to say, okay, that didn't happen, or I'm not going to talk about it. And if I don't talk about it, and if I don't address it, then it'll go away. And I won't have to deal with it. I won't have to deal with the pain if I don't talk about it. And it doesn't go away. It sits there like a festering sore, and it just gets worse. And it's like a wound that's not treated.
Sometimes people say, well, how can something that happened so long ago and did not take that long still affect you? But I have to say, like, it doesn't take very long to break your femur. And that takes a long time to heal, even with proper medical attention and care and the knowledge that, you didn't, like, this didn't happen to you because you deserved it.
And it wasn't until here recently that, in the last 5 or 6 years, that I was able to find my voice, find assistance, and be able to face some of those things that have happened, and be able to deal with the PTSD. I
didn't explore what it would be like to expect better for myself. And that did not happen overnight. I had to slowly, over many years, and then later with therapy, come to terms with what had happened to me.
What would make you feel like justice had been done, or is there even how does that play out to you?
Once adults know that a child has been sexually abused by anybody, they'll be like, oh, let's go get that person, let's punish them, oh my goodness, I'm gonna kill them, I'm gonna, all this violent stuff. Like, that's the first reaction people have.
I thought maybe my Dad might kill him.
And this is problematic for two reasons. One, it'd be much better if the first reaction of the people who love the kid the most is, oh my goodness, I'm going to get my baby some help because they've just been hurt. The other problem is the kid's like, okay, this horrible thing that just happened is now going to mean somebody is going to die because of me. Like, kids get confused.
I didn't want my dad to get into trouble. I didn't want to cause a problem, so I remained silent to keep the peace and just didn't want to be in trouble at all.
So I think we need to be careful about how we talk about punishment for people who commit rape or molestation or violence of that kind. I think it is important to talk about forgiveness with sexual violence.
And I always remember that forgiveness is not about making things okay. It's about not holding on to hate and not holding on to the things that, to the feelings and the anger that make my healing harder.
So, am I still mad at him? I'm saving my energy for healing myself. I can't undo what he did. I can heal. I can let go of being angry about it. And I can tell my story.
I think it's going to be probably a lifelong process. And for me, it's like, it's one that's worth working on, and it's worth challenging myself with, is that constant reminder to forgive. I always ask that question of why me, and where was God when, why would he keep me safe? But I know that he walks with me in that journey, and he still does, in trying to reconcile all the feelings that you have about it, and how we deal with these kind of things.
I knew Jesus was trying to tell me there was something better the whole time, and I trusted in that, because if there wasn't something better, then I didn't want to live anymore. So I think it's safe to say that without Jesus, I probably would have committed suicide at some point in that healing journey. It was bad for a long time. And the only thing that made it better was Jesus.
I know he doesn't want us to be alone in our hurt. And so as a congregation, I always think God can work through us so that we can be here for each other. And when someone needs a shoulder to cry on or an ear to listen, that we can do God's work as well, so that they have someone to listen when they have a story to tell.
I think a lot of people in our church would be happy to love on you and listen to your story.
In this movement, and watching these women come forward, and just people in general coming forward and saying, "Me too," it makes me feel proud of them, that they have the voice now to say, "Me too," when there was a time period where, for 20 years, that I couldn't say those words. So when I see those words, "Me too," I just feel proud of that person for having that courage.
You should know you're not alone, and you should know that it can get better. and you can heal from it. It's a lot of work to heal, but anything worth having is worth working for. And that healing is life.